Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Wan Nur Hidayah binti MEOR Muhammad Hilmi 18BB01006 as Presenter 1. Nur ATIQAH SYAZWANI binti Muhammad SAIFUL 18BB01009 as Presenter 2. And Nur AINA NADHIRAH binti KHAIRUDIN 18BB01003 as the last presenter.
So our topic for the presentation is the automated clearing and settlement system. So this system by the bank is focused on systematic risk reduction, promoting an efficient payment and settlement infrastructure to cater for both domestic and cross-border payments and improving efficiency in the provision of payment services. So for this automated clearing and settlement system, it has the advantage and disadvantage. So the first advantage it is to get paid faster of the automated payment without waiting the check to clear. So the second, the customers can avoid late fees and missed payments by the automatic bill payments. And the lastly is we don't have to use a credit card when we're making online purchase. So for the disadvantage, so the companies will have direct access to our bank account. So the second is auto payment will be deducted even though we have no funds in our bank accounts. And lastly, we need to monitor our transaction because we want to reduce the risk of the frauds, especially for businesses or individuals as well. Next, we will look at the payment. So the definition of payment is the transfer of money, goods and services in exchange for goods and services in acceptable proportions that have been previously agreed upon by all parties involved. So in payments, we have five types, which is the first is the credit and debit cards. So as we know, many businesses use these cards. The second is cash. So cash is usually the money, the currency. The second type is mobile phones or mobile devices. So for the mobile device, it is involved with the point of sale terminal, which can be said as a POS as well. This point of sale terminal can read customers' banking information through the software application that installed in the mobile phone. So for this point of sale terminal, it works when the signal of the POS terminal generated to inform the customers that the payment have been made. So as we know, when we install Foodpanda, Shopee, Lazada, so this several applications have a system that can have a system provided which is involved with the FBX, which is also a merchant for us to make the payment via online banking as well. So the next type is checks. So as we know, it allowing the payments to be electronically submitted. However, there are still instances when check might be helpful when seller wants a guaranteed payment. And then lastly is the wire transfer. So usually wire transfer are used for larger or more recurring payments in which a credit or debit card as well can afford to do that because it is usually in a large amount. So for example, this payment also can be made by the employers to their employees, or it is and international payment um, to make the transaction easier via wire transfer. So next is the payment systems in Malaysia. So as you know, we have two types of payment system in Malaysia, which is the first is large value payment system, and the second is retail payment system. So for the large value payment system, we have rentas, and for the retail payment system, we have three systems, which is the first is involved with the systems, the second is instruments, and the lastly is the channels. So the systems for the first is involved with the shared ATM network, e-debit, RBG, which is the interbank, FPX, and direct debit. For the second is instruments, is involved with the check, credit card, charge card, debit card, and e-money. And lastly is channels. So for the channels, we have ATM, internet banking, mobile banking, and payments. So next, we will look at the world's top payments recipients. So according to the World Bank data that have been published in 2019, global payments have been total for 689 billion in 2018. So in conclusion, we can see that the graph here shows the top 10 payment receiving countries in 2018. So the first country that makes the most payment is India with $78.6 billion. Then it followed by China with $67.5 billion, and it also followed with Mexico with $35.7 billion. So this is the first top three payments receiving, and we also can see that the last place, which is the 10th place, is Ukraine with $14.4 billion payments made in 2018. So we can see that Ukraine made the least payment in 2018 for the top 10 world's payment recipients. So now we will look at the real-time gross settlement. So we will look at the definition first, which is the real-time gross settlement refers to a funds that transfer system that allows for the instant transfer of money and securities. So this system also usually managed by the central bank of their countries, which is if we in Malaysia, it is controlled or managed by central bank in Malaysia, which is Bank Negara Malaysia. So next we have the Fed wire. So Fed wire is a real-time gross settlement system of central bank money that used by the Federal Reserve Banks, which is the Fed. And we will look at the history of Fed wire, which is in 1915. The Fed has begun to transfer funds between parties. So in 1918, the Federal Reserve was established its own proprietary system. So in between 1918 until 1980, the Fed wire system has become the only available system to member banks, as its service were free of charge. But when it comes to 1980, on 1981. The Fed has begun to charge fees after the depository institutions deregulations and Monetary Control Act of 1980 was signed into law. So for this FedWire, how it works. So for the process, it works with the first is the Fed will hold accounts for both senders and receivers and settle transaction individually and immediately. Then once it's settled, all the transactions are final and irrevocable, and the receiving bank is notified of the credit. And then both participants are required to pay a small fee in the given Next, the participating institutions also can initiate fund transfers online or on the phone. And lastly, now they can send money from their accounts for themselves or on behalf of their clients or customers to settle commercial payments or positions with other institutions. So next, we will see the advantages of FedWire, which is the first is the transaction will be in a real-time process. The second is the fees of the transaction of the transactions that provided by FedWire is low comparing to other systems. And lastly is the system of FedWire is reliable and secure for customers to use that system.
Kita akan move kepada tajuk check clearing. Check clearing ni adalah proses di mana dana tu berpindah dari satu akaun ke akaun lain untuk diselesaikan pembayaran cek. Amount tersebut biasanya akan dikreditkan ke akaun bank deposit dan jumlah yang setara didebitkan di bank dari mana dia dikeluarkan. Semasa kitaran cek clearing tu, cek tu akan disimpan di bank penerima dan akan ditunjukkan di bank pembayar untuk pembayaran. Okey, contoh bagi cek clearing ni, sekiranya seseorang tu dia mempunyai bil elektrik yang belum dijelaskan ataupun tertunggah, dia boleh memutuskan untuk membayar secara cek. Penyedia perkhidmatan elektrik menghantar cek ke bank dia untuk memasukkan jumlah tersebut ke dalam akaun dia. Cek tu akan melalui proses clearing cek dan akaun pembayar didebitkan untuk jumlah cek. Apabila kitaran terselesai, cek akan dihapuskan di mana kita akan panggil itu sebagai cek clearing. Okey, proses clearing cek ni dia berlaku apabila kita memasukkan cek ke dalam akaun kita, bank kita yang menjadi bank pengumpul dan akan kirimkan ke pusat penjelasan tertentu. Maksudnya pusat kita clearkan cek kita tu untuk disusun dan dikirimkan ke bank laci untuk membuat pembayaran. Okey, secara amnya cek ni dibahagikan kepada 3 kategori, iaitu house check, local check and outstanding check. House check ni adalah cek ni dia milik bank, di mana cek ni dimiliki oleh bank tapi cawangan yang sama. Okey, yang kedua local check. Cek ni diambil dan disimpan dalam zon tempatan. Maksudnya cek ni clearing cek ni dibuat dalam zon tempatan. Okey, yang ketiga outstanding check, iaitu cek ni dilakukan di bank tetapi di luar zon penjelasan tempatan. Maksudnya cek ni dikeluarkan tetapi di luar zon tempatan. Okey, berapa lama sebenarnya cek ni ambil masa untuk dikeluarkan? Ia dalam masa 2 hari ataupun lebih sehingga 5 hari macam tu. Dan ia sebenarnya bergantung juga kepada hubungan kita dengan bank, jumlah cek yang kita nak buat pembayaran tu dan kedudukan akaun pembayar. Okay, sekarang kita akan cakap pasal ATM Networks. ATM Networks ni ada banyak sangat kelebihan. Antaranya dia memprovidekan lebar jalur dynamic yang sangat sesuai untuk lalu lintas yang sesak. Yang kedua, dia simple data transmission, iaitu Dia memudahkan penghantaran data, dia dapat menyeragamkan dan dapat diramalkan. Yang ketiga, dia uniform packet size, iaitu ukuran paket yang seragam yang dapat memastikan lalu lintas tu dikendalikan dengan cekap. Two type connections are supported by ATM. Nombor satu, point-to-point connection, bermaksud dia menghubungkan kedua-dua sistem akhir sama arah atau dua arah. Yang kedua, sambungan point to multi-point, ia menghubungkan satu ATM sahaja ke sejumlah ATM kesemuanya. ATM ni adalah protokol teras untuk SONET yang menjadi tulang belakang ISDN. Kelebihan yang diberikan oleh sel-sel kecil seperti itu ialah mereka dapat ditukarkan sepenuhnya dalam perkakasan. Dia menggunakan chip yang sesuai dan semua itu akan menjadikan pertukaran ATM menjadi sangat cepat dan berpotensi sangat murah.
So now, let's talk about CHIPS. So what is CHIPS? CHIPS is Clearinghouse Interbank Payment System. CHIPS is a private sector of transfer system based on the largest dollar in United States. This electronic payment system is privately operated and owned by banks, transferred and settled in US dollar. CHIPS is a customer and a competitor of FedWire Federal Reserve Services. It allows banks to make international payment transfer efficiently as they do not require bank checks. CHIPS only operated from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. There are about 50 members banks in CHIPS for the time being. There are two regulators of CHIPS, which is the Clearinghouse and the Law of New York City. There are three strains of CHIPS, which is highest liquidity, focus on need of the customer, and good contingency planning. So, how is the process of CHIPS? Okay, let's say client A purchased some good from client B. Then, client B requests for a payment. So, client A calls bank A and say, "Hello, bank, I need to pay 300 to client B." Then, client A give bank A 300 ringgit. Now, bank A transfer 300 ringgit to bank B. Bank A will transfer the money to bank B by CHIPS. CHIPS will open an account for each participant. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in a working day, participant can transfer fund to the CHIPS account to FedWire. Bank A will send a payment message to the CHIPS. The payment message will join a queue and wait for the system edit. A payment message can be marked as urgent, preferred, or none of the above. So, after the edit, CHIPS will either approve or reject the edit. After CHIPS approve the message, it will credit the Bank A account and debit the Bank B account. Then, Bank B will have the money to pay to the client B. Now, let's move to SWIFT. SWIFT is a society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunication. It enables wire transfer via global network of intermediary banks. It provides a network that enables financial institutions to send and receive information about the financial transaction in a secure, standardized, and reliable environment. SWIFT transports financial message securely but does not hold accounts for its members and does not perform any form of clearing and settlement. There are few types of services in SWIFT. The first one is connectivity. SWIFT provides access to a trusted network of users worldwide. The second one is messaging. SWIFT provides a variety of different transaction messaging services. The third one is application applications. SWIFT offers additional applications and services. And the last one is standards. SWIFT collaborates with the users community to standardize message type. Next, we go to the strengths of SWIFT. The first one is low latency. It connects all participants, which is specifically designed to handle high volumes on a 24/7 with no downtime. The second one is efficient addressing. A short name, email address, or mobile phone number is linked to a customer's bank account number. The third one is payment gateway. It supports exchange of pre-clearing and pre-settlement message. It also supports APIs that enable value-added services such as fraud detection and merchant platform. The last one is standards. The ISO 2022 enables long-term interoperability with other market infrastructures. Last but not least is the benefits of SWIFT. The first one is data confidentiality. The complete payment details are only shared between the clearing parties, ensuring data privacy. Customer data remains in country. The second one is flexible. It allows banks to offer innovative new services to their customer. The solution can accommodate different payments users case through closed user group, which is called by CUGs. Next is low compressing complexity. The solution uses advanced and decentralized PKI processing, which pre-validates and pre-processes the beneficiary details, which is in turn reduce the overall system resource usage. The fourth is high throughput. The solution supports high volume throughput if pre-clearing fails a settlement request, which should have been sent to the settlement engine will not be generated by the PAG, thus shielding the netting and settlement application. Next is high resilience. The solution also built in high resilience as the architecture has no single point of failure. Bank can pause fund after clearing and before settlement even if settlement party is not available. And the last one is strong security. All payment messages are signed by the sender. This is different from a centralized model where the hub acts as a third party and sends all the instructions.
That's all from us. Thank you.